Thursday afternoon, just gone 3, so we've got lots to do between now and 4 o'clock, because over the next hour, we're going to be talking about health and well-being, all the news you need to know about the things that could improve your mental and physical health. And we're going to start north of the border today because Scotland's first medical cannabis clinic has begun prescribing to patients suffering from chronic pain conditions. It was legalised as a treatment in the UK back in 2018. Doctors are allowed to prescribe it in certain situations. Now, a private clinic in Stirling has started providing unlicensed cannabis-based medicines for people with conditions that don't meet the criteria for NHS-prescribed products. Susie was the first patient to receive a face-to-face consultation.
Nothing seemed to really touch this leg pain that I've had, so I sort of gave up and just didn't take any pain meds for a long time. One of the other reasons that I wanted to try it was insomnia. So I think the first thing that I've noticed is that that's starting to improve. I'm still a bit cautious to say that it's, huge, dramatic improvement, but it is such early days.
That's Susie then. Dr. Mikael Sodergren is the Chief Executive of the Sapphire Clinic, which runs the clinic in Stirling. Michael, hello to you.
Good afternoon, Phil. Thanks for the invitation to join you.
Pleasure. Right, let's have a look at this then. I suppose when it comes to medicine, is it very much in its infancy still, this branch of medicine?
Well, in some ways, yes, and in some ways, no. So cannabis-based medicines is not just one medicine. And it's not one medicine to treat one condition. So in some areas of cannabis-based medicines, for instance, in the treatment of childhood epilepsy syndromes, it's very well developed, and we have medicines with market authorization that have gone through randomized trials that have been evaluated by NICE in England or SMC in Scotland and are available to NHS patients free of charge. On the other hand, there are other indications that are slightly less developed. One of those is chronic pain, and for chronic pain we do have good evidence that the medicines work, but NICE that tell us whether we as the UK taxpayer should foot the bill for these medicines on the NHS, evaluated cannabis-based medicines for chronic pain last year, and they said that they weren't cost effective. And that puts them, cannabis-based medicines, in the same category as many of the cancer drugs that you read in the newspapers about. And actually the reason why David Cameron's government set up the Cancer Drugs Fund to access these treatments that are effective but don't reach that cost effectiveness threshold that NICE set for us to foot the bill for them. And that's a very, very transparent, rigid process where you have health metrics like quality of life years and certain parameters that relate to cost of those.
When it comes to the word cannabis, a lot of people have preconceived ideas there, but fundamentally, the chemistry of cannabis then, what makes it good as medical cannabis? What is it about it that can actually help and alleviate various conditions?
Well, the cannabis plant has a number of different chemicals in it, like most plants. And so the chemicals that we're interested in to investigate for medical purposes are cannabinoids and some also called terpenes. But we've really only started studying 2 of the main there are over 120 cannabinoids in the plants. We've only really studied in really great detail CBD and THC, and that's where we're developing the evidence base. But we're certainly at a preclinical level, we're getting more and more data to suggest that some other cannabinoids, such as CBG and others, have really important medicinal properties, such as anti-inflammatories and so on. And so really, it's incumbent on us as the medical profession to be able to do all of this research to really tease out what chemicals it is in this plant that have what medicinal properties, how effective those properties are, and how we can direct those as medicines in a cost-effective way to treat human illness.
When it comes to the conditions then, particularly the conditions that it's very good at treating, you mentioned epilepsy in children perhaps, and we immediately think of pain, but given what you've just said, there are various things where it could be very useful, almost in conjunction with perhaps the ones that you would get on the NHS, the normal sort of ways that you would treat various conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. And the news piece was about our clinic first getting regulatory approval to see patients in Scotland. We were also the first to get regulatory approval by the CQC to see patients in England. And the reason I say that is that was now, towards the end of 2019. We've seen thousands of patients in England. And so we have quite a lot of experience, because what we've done is we've set up UK Medical Cannabis Registry, which is a clinical outcome database that collects how effective these medicines are, what side effects they have, how they change a patient's function, sleep quality, etc., etc. So we've got a really rich data set now that allows us to understand and complement the existing medical literature. And so the reason I say that is that there's a variety of conditions that we see patients for in the clinic, ranging from Parkinson's to headache disorders to some inflammatory conditions where we don't have randomized controlled trial data yet, but we have some data from the clinical literature suggesting that there's a signal. And so we're able to complement that with this real-world evidence data set that we're generating now to hopefully, when the regulators come to evaluating these treatments for prescription on the NHS, they will reach a favorable outcome because there will be the adequate amount of data available for them.
We did hear from Susie, who said she hasn't seen a huge dramatic improvement. Do you temper expectations? It's not the, as it were, magic pill.
100%. And so the really important thing to emphasize, particularly when on media like this, is that medical cannabis isn't a miracle cure. It isn't a miracle medicine. It's a medicine like all others that we prescribe, in that some patients have really fantastic responses, and we've seen some life-changing responses in some patients. But in other patients, we've seen no response at all. Indeed, some of them just developed a side effect. And the majority of patients lie somewhere in between. And Susie's case is really interesting because in many ways, she is very close to our typical patient. Our typical patient is a 50-year-old female with a chronic pain condition who has entered this vicious circle of chronic pain, functional disability, mild psychiatric morbidity, anxiety disorders, as well as poor sleep quality. And this sort of vicious circle perpetuates all of these symptoms in turn. And so it's about breaking this circle. And so by improving the quality of somebody's sleep, reducing the overall burden of pain, you're able to increase the function of that patient. And what most patients tell us is that, look, doc, my pain's gone from 8 to 6 on a scale of 1 to 10, but really that doesn't reflect how it's changed my life, because what it's done is it's made me be able to, do the dishes or wash my hair, or really profound things that have meaning to people in their day-to-day lives. And it's really important that we capture that in the data, which we're doing. And in some ways, it's interesting to hear, because Susie's story is sort of typical for that. It's not, oh, my pain's gone. It really is. It's much more nuanced and complex than that.
Really good to speak to you, Mikael. Thank you very much for spending time with us this afternoon. You take care of yourself. Thank you very much indeed. That's Dr. Mikael Sodergren, who is the Chief Executive of the new Sapphire Clinic in Scotland, in Stirling. He's Chief Executive there. They run that new medical cannabis clinic. It's coming up to...